Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Patdees, and welcome to the show. I appreciate everyone that's coming tonight. I know it always takes a couple minutes for people to roll in, but real quick, I want to say hello to a couple of people that are here. Borderline Hoarders, thank you for coming by. Turtle Trader, I'm excited who I have coming on the show tonight. As everyone who follows me knows, I like baseball cards, and actually that's how I started selling on eBay, was for the love of buying and selling sports cards and stuff like that. So if you guys could do me a favor and share this out on Facebook, and if you guys aren't familiar with the Tops Project 2020 program, you can check the link below. But Blake is in the back in the green room, and he'll be coming out in a couple minutes, and we'll let some people roll in here. Turtle Trader, thanks for stopping. Hey, Steve, how are you? I know once the notification goes out, but I'm going to bring Blake out because I don't want to waste too much time. I have him here for an hour, and I want to talk to him about the Tops project. So let's bring out Blake.
What is up? How you doing?
Hey, Blake.
Good.
How you doing, sir?
Doing great.
Good. I really appreciate you giving me the time to come on the show. Blake, why don't you tell me where you're from and
Sure.
a little bit of your background? I'll let you tell your story.
No problem. I was born in San Francisco, California. Grew up in a very creative household. Had been, drawing before I could walk. Loved creating, and at some point between, in growing up, before I went to college, I'd kind of convinced myself that art wasn't a viable career path. So I have a little bit of a different story than most artists where, my parents were actually very encouraging for me to study art, go to art school. And I decided that I didn't think it was a viable career path. And so I decided to study economics at UC Davis. I thought that'd be kind of a safer bet and do something in like the business or marketing world. And so when I graduated, I started working in digital marketing. It was kind of right in the boom of Facebook, and Twitter was not really being used by brands, and it was like the Wild West. There was no rules. And for a creative person like myself, it was great because I still was able to express myself creatively and worked with a lot of amazing brands, helping them grow their business using social media. Did that for almost a decade, and on my 30th birthday, I decided that I was not really happy and fulfilled doing that anymore. I think for a long time it was very fulfilling, and it just got to a point where I was looking forward to Fridays, I was dreading Mondays, and I just felt like it's time to make a change. And so I quit the job and ultimately decided that painting is what I wanted to do full time. And so I started painting full time about 5 years ago. I'm 35 now, and wasn't initially doing athletes and sports portraits like I kind of specialize in today. I was actually focused on the area of people that I knew and was close with, which was, marketing agencies and PR firms and tech companies. So I was working within the niche of like creating cool office art. So a lot of inspirational stuff, portraits of Steve Jobs and Gary Vaynerchuk's and those type of people. And that was awesome. Kind of serendipitously in 2017, I met this guy who had formerly played in the NFL. Now he manages NFL players. His name's Jared Faison. He really liked my work and thought that his clients in the NFL would appreciate it. And he suggested that I do a couple of his clients for free to just get my foot in the door, and then that they would promote it and their teammates would buy it. And so I did that. And just like he said, it worked very well. Did a few paintings for free, got a few sales, and saw a lot of opportunity in the sports market. And so at that point, I kind of shifted my focus to painting professional athletes. To date, I've done a little over 400 professional athletes, most of which are in the NFL, either current or retired players, and have been spending the last 18 months starting to branch out into other sports, soccer, lacrosse, basketball, and now with the Tops 2020 project, very excited to be in kind of the baseball space because I also grew up collecting baseball cards with my dad, and so it's fun to be back in that hobby, and it kind of feels like I never left. I think that it's been a really awesome experience overall, both from an artistic standpoint of giving myself a platform for reaching new fans with my art, and also just getting back into the love of the hobby and collecting cards. And, as you can see, like on the shelf behind me, I've got my collection is regrown very quickly with different memorabilia. So I have Mark McGuire, who's been like my all-time forever PC. I've got Buster Posey stuff up here too. And then these are just like down in the middle shelf. They're like packs, because I still love like ripping packs with my friends and employees and team.
So you were one of those guys when chasing when him and Sammy Sosa were doing the, what was it, 70 or something? It was a crazy time.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time for football. Very exciting.
Now, if anyone doesn't follow Blake, his link is in our description. And actually, what we're going to do tonight, one of you guys, the viewers there, we're going to give away 2 cards. One to a viewer that's here tonight. And this is what the Topps Project 2020 packets come in. This is actually one of Blake's cards. It's the Mark McGuire one that I purchased. It's nice because it's a cross between, really, it's like the 87 and a cross between the Olympics 85, exactly.
Yeah.
So I love it.
This one was the reference card that Topps gave us.
Right.
And many people consider this his true rookie card, which was before, when he was still in the minors.
Right.
Played on Team USA. And so I wanted to stay true to this card, so I used this reference image. You got the wood grain throwback, but I also wanted to pay homage to this one, which I think is also a very important card in, like, Mark McGuire's history. So I kind of made a mishmash of both. And I love that Project 2020 card. It's so cool to me.
Do they, do they even have a Olympics card anymore in baseball? I haven't.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. So what we're going to do is we're going to give away in about a half an hour. We're going to ask a question, and to be fair, someone will. And then if we can get this up to 400 views in 30 days, I'll give another Blake card. And what I'm willing to do is give the card of the player that you want.
Awesome.
So if he's coming out, his next card that he is working on is Ted Williams, right?
Yep. That's right.
Now,
August is when that drops.
When is that card dropping?
August 5th.
August 5th. Okay. How many cards? If people don't know, basically the Topps 2020 project basically is 400 cards, 2 a day, 20 artists, and 20 players. And if you look at this, in the link in the description, you can see that. And those are the different. So sometimes I see people in some of the chats. They'll be like, "Well, why is he not making this card?" Because those are the players that you guys are allowed to. Let me ask you, Blake, how did you get picked for this project by Topps?
Great question. It's funny how it all works out. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and I had reached a point in my career where I had painted at that time probably for 300, 350 professional athletes. And that's great. But also if I wanted to increase the size of my business, I had needed to paint more people or raise my prices. And it's exhausting, always trying to find the next customer to buy an original painting. And so I had in my mind that I wanted to shift my business to a little bit more of a licensing business model, at least as just another stream of income. And a different way of getting my art out into homes. Because another thing is, like, I wasn't mass producing prints. And so, like, I would work on one painting. It would only go out to one home. And with the Topps project, my Mike Trout card, which was a collab with Ben Baller, we sold 75,000 copies. So that's in probably 50,000 homes, because a lot of people bought more than one. But so kind of in my headspace, I was just wanting to take my business to another level and looking at different ways that I could do licensing. And I had seen an artist that I follow online that was working with Topps, and I was just like, man, that would be such a good fit for me. And so I actually tried to find someone that worked at Topps, see if I knew anyone that worked at Topps, so that I could, just suggest to them, like, hey, let's work together. I work in the sports world, and kind of came up dry, and nothing panned out. And it was like, I don't know if it was days or a week later, but very soon after that, I actually had an inbox message from a guy named Jeff Heckman, who's the head of Project 2020 at Topps. And he says, "Hey, my name's Jeff. I work at Tops." And all he did, he like filled a form out on my website, which, by the way, is proathleteportraits.com. I know I have a few websites. I saw someone comment the Blake the Artist page, which is fine. That is a website of mine. But Pro Athlete Portraits is kind of my sports one. So he filled out a contact page on that contact form on that website. It just said, "Hey, I work at Tops. I'd like to set up a call and discuss an upcoming project." And this was, I don't know, middle to end of last year, of 2019. And I was very excited, obviously, to be hearing from Tops. I set up a phone call and he says, "Look, this is what we want to do. We're going to reimagine 20 iconic Tops baseball cards. We've chosen 20 artists that we'd like to be a part of it. We'd like you to be one of those 20 artists. And are you interested?" And naturally I said yes. Had a little bit of contract negotiations back and forth with just kind of the back end deal logistics for the project. And we came to terms on it, and here we are. So there was a little bit of, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 months after we had agreed on it, signed all the papers, but I was under a strict NDA where I wasn't allowed to talk about it. And I was just excited, but I couldn't tell anyone about what I had coming up. And so finally, when it launched in May, it's a very exciting time and has literally changed my life as an artist and as a collector. And, as a friend. I met so many amazing people through this. I see some of them here on the chat right now. What's up, Eric? So it's pretty freaking awesome, man. And the fact that they came to me and had found my work. I found out later that Jeff had seen some of the work that I had done with Paul Rabel, who is a professional lacrosse player in the PLL. He's also a co-owner in the league. And I played lacrosse in college, so I'm a big lacrosse fan. And so I had done some work with him, and Jeff follows him, and that's how he found my work. So, and again, going back to those first original paintings that I did for free to get my foot in the door with Jared Fazen's clients, I wanted to get my foot in the door with lacrosse. And so I hit up Paul on Twitter and said, "Hey, this is what I have done in the NFL. I'm a huge lacrosse fan, and I love what you and your brother are doing with the Premier Lacrosse League. If I paint you a painting, will you like it?" And it was free. And so, you look back at those little decisions that you make, and sometimes you're doing stuff for free and not getting paid, but in the long scheme of things, if that's why Tops found me and that's why I'm literally sitting here right now, it's pretty crazy to think about,
Right. Now, for the audience that doesn't know who you are, I looked into you a little bit, and you've also done celebrities paintings. Why don't you list some of those that you've done for?
Yeah, I think so when I was in Las Vegas and had met Jared Fazen, I was dropping off a painting for Rick Harrison from Pawn Stars. And so that got me to Vegas to make that first connection that got me into sports. And the Rick Harrison connection came from, I don't know, a month or two before that, where I had done a painting for Howie Mandel. And I drove it. I was with my parents are in Northern California, just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. And so I had set it up to come into Howie's studio in LA and actually did a live painting there with him and got to present it to him. And we did kind of this little skit, which was really cool. And so did that painting with Howie. They really liked it. The guy who runs Howie's YouTube also runs Rick Harrison's YouTube. So it's so crazy how I can trace back to all these different things of, the different steps that I've taken throughout my life. And if you look at both of those, actually, both of those were free paintings. And I think that, I think it's something that a lot of artists don't understand the value of doing free work, because at the end of the day, getting paid for one painting is just, money comes and goes. But if you're building those relationships and getting this, building up your resume and building up the clientele that you've worked with, it doesn't really matter to me, if I do a free painting. So it's crazy that I can trace back Tops now, because I am getting compensated by Tops. And I think the comp package for the artist is generous, which is great. So yeah, all that came from a series of free gifts. And also those free gifts lead to other paid work. People see I work with Howie, and then they're like, "Oh, I used to grow up. I love watching Howie, or I love watching him on America's Got Talent now. So I want a painting of me." So
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're in Queens, New York?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. And you have your studio there?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, because of the pandemic that we're in, has that this is great that Topps 2020 is taking up a lot of your time. Has it affected the business as far as doing stuff for sports stars at all?
It has. Yeah. I think I'd be in a very different place if I didn't have Project 2020 and my business was running as it did last year, where my core business and core collectors and patrons were professional athletes, because we don't know what's going to happen with sports.
Right.
And we still don't know what's going to happen with sports. And so, these guys, when the money is flush and the game and there's nothing wrong and, the season is going as planned, these guys know, okay, well, I'm getting these paychecks. Like, I can afford to spend a couple grand on a painting and not feel like that's going to, impact, my long-term financial stability. Now we're in a situation where nobody really knows what's going to happen. And I don't know the back end of, like, when sports happen without fans, are the players taking a pay cut? I would imagine they are, but I don't actually know. So it definitely has impacted the business from the sports side of things.
Yeah. Now, I see you do, even you're branching off, which is very smart, is you're doing you're getting the cards themselves and doing autograph ones.
Yep.
And modifying those. And how let me ask you something. Do you know, I mean, I know you can't, I'm not asking you to disclose it, obviously, but the cards are printed in the USA. There is a big, like my first, the cards that I have right now, I bought on the second market. I bought on eBay. The cards that I've ordered from Topps Direct, like the first card I ordered was June 1st. I haven't received any of those yet.
Came late.
But I'm excited. I'm not complaining because, hey, I know the situation, what's going on. But have you seen the process of, I've been watching you, how you make these big things on the ground, and what is the process of how they're taking that and printing these cards? Have they allowed the artist to actually go and see the cards being made?
I wish. No. So I think that there's a few different printing facilities. I know that there's one in Florida. And it would be, I mean, I would love to go on a field trip and go see that whole process.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube one day, and I was looking at how, different baseball cards or different cards are created. And there's a lot of cool videos online that tour those type of factories. But no, I don't get to see that behind the curtain spot parts. But from my perspective, I'm painting analog. I'm doing actual, putting paint on canvas, and every artist is different. Some are doing it digitally, whether it's on like an iPad Touch and they're using a stylus and they're drawing the card, or some are using, could be using a computer and like a Photoshop type program. But I'm doing it all physical, actual paint, actual canvas. And then once I finish that, put it up on the wall. I have a pretty nice camera, and so I'll put it on a tripod and light it up really well, take a very high resolution photograph. Then I do pull it into Photoshop on my computer. And so if you look at some of my cards, you'll see that there's the portrait element, which is the part that I paint. And then I also will oftentimes borrow elements from the original card. So for example, on that Mark McGwire card that you showed, it has the wood grain border from the original 1987 rookie card. So I didn't paint the wood grain border. I actually took that digitally from the digital file that Topps sends me of the original card and put that into a card template, and then basically put my art inside and kind of marry the two together. So it's a little bit of the final steps to basically prepare the art that I create on the floor of my studio for a case that arrives in the mail to you at some unforeseen future date that's a long time away, does happen on the computer, and putting it into Photoshop and then sending it to them digitally, just over email. And even Topps headquarters is actually here in New York, in Patdees. And I would love to go to the office as well, but with everything that's going on, everyone's working remotely and the office is shut down. So I hope that someday I will be able to go in and shake Jeff's hand and thank him for this amazing opportunity, and everyone else at Topps that I think is working very hard to give artists like me a big platform, and it's been
right. And what I like about, and this is how I found you, because of cards,
Yep.
networking and YouTubing. If you wouldn't be doing this, I probably wouldn't have found you. And that's what's tremendous about the social media aspect. I got to ask a question.
Sure.
Who is Matt?
Matt is a friend and employee.
Is this Matthew? Is it Matthew Burke?
No, but I do know Matthew Burke. He also is a friend. He's on my streams all the time. Always have great questions. Also made the wood frame one. Do you want to go grab that? Do you know where it is? It's funny because you asked that, because I have a Matt also.
Well, yeah, this is Matt that I see on the lives with you. Hey, Matt. And I always wonder, is he your brother? Is he a cousin?
Yeah. No, we met through Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Matthew Burke, I met early in the project. He made this gorgeous walnut frame for a Topps card, and I just was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And so he recently sent me this, and I haven't even taken it out of the sleeve yet, but he like custom makes like an actual frame.
Oh, cool. For
the card. So that was super cool. So that is what Matthew Burke sent me.
Now let me ask you, do you have any of the other cards that you've done right there that you could show the audience? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
I do not, but my Matt could go grab some.
Okay, yeah. I think your Rickey Henderson card is really going for a lot, because it was I've noticed on the second market that it was a short print.
Yeah, it was a short print. My Don Mattingly was also, that one's my shortest print. Yeah, it's they're doing all right.
Yeah. So basically, at the rate that we're going for the cards, they're supposed to do 400. I think today, card 177, 170. So we're not even quite halfway there. So this is really going to last all the way into the end of the year.
That's right.
Now, how many cards do you do a card every other week? Is that how the schedule works out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So every 2 weeks, each artist has a drop, and I'm typically doing them as they come up. So the next card, Ted Williams, comes out on August 5th, and I haven't started it yet. But
wow.
I will start it probably this weekend.
Wow.
And, I mean, I've done a lot of, like I said, over 400 athletes, portraits. It's very much in my wheelhouse. I'm very comfortable producing this type of work, and I like to work fast. I have kind of a, ADD all over the place personality. And so like, I don't like to let a project sit for a very long time anyways. And so as soon as I get a spark of inspiration, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to knock this card out. And so, and oftentimes I'll do that on my live streams, because I'm live streaming on YouTube every Monday through Friday at 10:23 p.m. After 10 p.m. is always my most creative time. So I love that when I can jump on the streams and I can do, art, and then I can engage with the fans and have them help me pick the colors, or, give me feedback. Sometimes I'll paint two versions of the same card, and I'll let the fans choose which one to submit to Topps. And so I'm giving them a very direct access to both feel like connected to the process, and then also connected to the result, where they're they see the one that they voted for win the popular vote, and they're like, all right, I'm part of the reason why this is being printed at Topps, and which is a really cool feeling. So yes, it's been fun, but yes, I'm painting every.
So you will be live tonight then on your channel around 10 o'clock, you said?
10:23.
10:23. Yeah, you guys, if you want to get a chance, go over there. And he does these live, and Matt, and sometimes I see somebody else. Oh, I think last night it was Tony that was there.
Yep. Tony was here. Andy is on sometimes. Nick is on sometimes. So I have, that's kind of the core group that come into the studio every day and work here with me in Long Island City. And then we have a few remote employees that are working from California and Washington. I think those are the only two states. Perfect. All right, here we go.
Okay, I'm going to put Blake on solo so he can show his work and the cards that are part of the top.
I'll actually try and go in order. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, we'll go in order. Gone. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. My first card, Nolan Ryan. It's card number 18 of the project, and I think it's awesome. Yeah, this is kind of what started it, which is great. My next card was Don Mattingly. With Don Mattingly, in the original image, these two were reversed. So I like to do kind of a flip and took the mugshot and put it up there and the action shot down there. I thought that was just a fun way to do it. And again, you can see kind of the original elements, the Yankees down the side, Don Mattingly at the bottom, Tops in the corner.
And that card, Blake, that card is based on the 1984 Tops card, right?
I believe it's the 84, yes.
84, right.
Yeah. So I thought this one was fun, fun exploration. It was just kind of playing with those images. My following card was Jackie Robinson, and pardon me, this case is just a little bit scratched up, but we will replace it. So the Jackie Robinson card, this card was also very special because it turned out to be card number 42 in the project, which was Jackie's number. So that was a really cool thing, and that actually happened spontaneously because I said that I don't usually get ahead of myself in terms of the paintings, but in this case, I'd actually finished the Jackie Robinson card before my next card, which was Rickey Henderson, and they moved it because I suggested that a Jackie should be card number 42. So they swapped them, and they put Jackie out first, and then the Rickey one. Rickey one is awesome. I grew up in Northern California. I was an Oakland A's fan, and I grew up after he had gone to the Yankees. So I didn't get to see him during the stint that I was going to Oakland A's games with my dad, but I did always hear about him from my dad and always heard of the legend of the Man of Steel, which is kind of cool. So that card was super fun. And then also kind of tying back to the A's. So we had the Mark McGwire card, which we showed already. And so as a kid, Mark McGwire was my favorite player. The A's were my favorite team, and you couldn't tell me otherwise. And so being able to design a card of literally my childhood hero was, pretty incredible feeling to do as an artist. And then, this project has taken on a life of its own in terms of its visibility, and we can get into that kind of in a separate conversation of why, because there's no sports. But MLB.com wrote an article about my Mark McGwire card as well as just in general, my other Project 2020 cards and the impact of Project 2020 on the card market and the sports market. And because of that article, Mark McGwire himself actually read the article, saw it, thought it was cool, and there was a little bit kind of a teaser in the article saying Blake had a really cool story, a childhood story that involves Mark McGwire. To see it, go watch his YouTube video here. That link to my YouTube where I tell this story as a kid growing up and seeing, with Mark McGwire. And so Mark McGwire read the article, then he went and watched the video, and then he emailed me. And then later that day, he called me on the phone. And so the fact that out of all of this, literally my one, sports icon of my childhood became aware of me and my work and reached out, and he was super nice. And it's really cool.
That's cool. I was going to ask if you had the opportunity to meet any of the players yet. Mm-hmm. Obviously some of them are not here no more. But it's to kind of tie this all together. I don't know if I actually live up here in the Poconos, Lake Wallenpaupack area, mm-hmm. and Tops used to have a plant in Duray, Pennsylvania, which is only a half an hour away from us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had actually had a customer, an older gentleman that came into the restaurant, and one day he gave it to my one son, a Hank Aaron autograph card. When he worked there, Hank Aaron came to tour the facility. Yeah. And signed a card for him, and he's like, I don't need it. He had it thrown in his desk drawer or something like that. And and he gave it to my son. So I've been a fan. What I was, you were showing one of my favorite ball players was I'm a big fan of Mark McGwire, but was Mike Schmidt. Yeah. I always wanted his rookie card, and this is a grade at PSA card. Yeah. This is a $300 I just looked it up before we went live. It's going now for about $330
Nice.
on eBay.
Mhm.
The card market, and I think you're help behind that. The card market really has taken off. I mean, if anybody's watching on my Facebook, I have a Patdees card breaks. I only have about 200 people because eventually what I'm trying to do as part of mine is really get back. My flaw right now is not knowing a lot of the current players.
Mm-hmm.
I know, yeah. My older son knows them, but I mean, you know the Bryce Harpers and things like that. But I know a lot of the vintage. Now here's a miscut graded 8 card.
Mm-hmm.
A graded 8 card can go for $500 or $600, but see how it's miscut over here?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm really into. I mean, this is why I was so excited. It was funny because last week when I reached out to you guys about 2.5 weeks ago, and last week when you guys finally said, "Yeah, we'll do it," and I stopped watching you for a couple of days because I didn't want to hear the answers that maybe you would that I wanted to ask you when you come on the show. And but I had to watch last night as you guys were opening some packages from Donna, one of your fans, I guess, and I think I like the man. I could see you in the future if Matt and those guys, if you get to meet your some of these idols and players, that they follow you around with a camera and you could upload that stuff to YouTube. How long have you been doing YouTube?
Well, so like I said, before I was a full-time artist, I worked in digital marketing, and so that involved a lot of video content, but that was on behalf of clients. So I'd used to use YouTube for a long time, managing different brand channels and helping them grow and create content for. So when I left the social media marketing, digital marketing world, definitely knew that content would be important. And so I've been walking around with the camera since I started in 2016. The very first project I did actually in kind of the art world, which I just thought was like a fun kind of ridiculous project, is I hired a videographer from Craigslist to move into my house, actually my parents' house, because I moved back in with my parents at the age of 30 because I wanted to become an artist and I was willing to make those type of sacrifices. And my parents are awesome, so it really wasn't a sacrifice, it was a bonus. Anyways, I get a videographer, he moves in for the whole summer, films me every day, and we did a project called 90 Days to MoMA, and the goal was to get my art into the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, which is called SF MoMA, within 90 days. And it was a pretty ridiculous goal because I didn't really know how to paint that well. I knew that I loved doing it, but I didn't have any type of following or any clout in the art world, but I just wanted to see if I could do it. And so, you know, the very first day, we literally took a few of my paintings in a paper bag. We walked into MoMA. We asked to speak to the curator and see if they would take my art. They didn't. But we spent the following 90 days trying all these crazy tactics and ways and exploring like kind of the fine art world and trying to get my art in there. And we kind of do, but you got to watch it to find out.
We have a question from a viewer.
Yep.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I don't know if you do. Do you do this when you go live sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't want to interrupt because sometimes you can get distracted by it. So Oscar, a friend of mine, El Cubinazo, he lives down there in Florida. And he says, considering the success of the project so far, do you think Topps will keep this going and start a project 2021 or something?
Sure. So I actually had Jeff Heckman, who's the head of Project 2020, on my stream, and someone asked a similar question directly to him at Topps. So this answer is just what I was told by Topps. They said they won't be doing a Project 2021 in any sense of like the same capacity of what they did this year, which I think is the smart move because it's exhausting. 5 days a week, 2 cards a day, for an entire year, almost, May through December. It's a lot. And so I think that to preserve kind of the integrity of this set and the importance of it, not beating the dead horse and doing Project 2021, is probably the smart move. However, Jeff says that they are very interested in continuing to work with some of the different artists in in some type of capacity. So
Right.
I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I haven't even approached that conversation, but I would be very excited to continue with Topps, whether it's whatever they want. If they wanted me to do, my own set, like Ben Baller, he's one of the artists of the project, and he signed a deal for the Topps Chrome set. He's going to design the whole thing. So that's really cool. So it could be like that, or like the Tyson Beck kind of models. He's also in Topps 2020. But before that, he was a designer for Topps, an artist for Topps, and he would design inserts in the Topps Fire set. And so every once in a while, you'd get a rare, sometimes autographed and numbered insert. Tyson Beck would just design those inserts. So I'd be open to that too. I think it'd be so cool if someone could open up a pack of cards off a shelf and be hoping that they get a Blake Jamieson card. Would be, another notch in the belt. And it's definitely seems like it's a possibility. I'm just trying to enjoy this moment and take as much as I can, as much joy as I can get from like where I'm at right now is great. But in the future, I think that there's a lot of cool stuff that we could do together in terms of like the artists and Topps working together.
Right. What I like about the cards is how many are being printed. If there's 4,000, if there's 7,000, a lot of times with the others, it's always a guess.
Yep.
You don't know. And people who really collect cards are buying graded cards because how many of the particular cards are graded. But we're going to real quick, what we're going to do, this is the deal. I'm going to give a Blake card out for the people in the chat.
Yep.
Here's the question. I need the card number of the Mark McGuire. It's I'll give you a clue. It's 50 to 100. So anybody in the chat, if you guys could give me the card number, the first person that gets it will obviously win Blake's card.
I love it.
So you got to put a number in there, and Blake obviously knows the number that we're looking for. And
I just peeked. I just looked to see if I knew it.
It's definitely not 42. It's anywhere from 50 to 100. They're guessing now. We haven't hit it yet.
Okay.
Keep guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised Tony's not up on that, or Eric. It's probably good if they don't win.
There we go. We got a winner.
Nice, Kevin
Kelly. It's 81.
Yeah.
Okay, and what we're going to do, if you guys are watching this on the replay, Kevin, what you'll do is you'll get a hold of me, in the about section, patandpa72@aol.com, and we'll talk and we'll figure out. Now, with that being said, it could take 6-7 weeks to get the card that you want because of Topps and because it's not released yet. But I will take care of paying for that card and getting it shipped to you. I appreciate it. And the people who are watching this on the replay, what I want you to do is just basically comment, tell me you subscribe to our page, hit the thumbs up, and then we'll do like in the future when I show some Project 2020 cards, I will do a random thing where the computer will pick a person who comments.
Kevin hit it with the guess too, because I saw afterwards he guessed 57. 81 and 57. So that's hilarious. Congratulations, Kevin. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just said rad. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, are you working on anything else besides Topps right now?
Yeah. So I mentioned that my kind of sports commissioned art business had kind of dried up a little bit during the current climate.
Right.
But because of the Topps project, and now I've met all these amazing people in the hobby, and some people, for example, tonight on my stream, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth. I have a couple stencils to cut. One is Hank Aaron, and so the collector, this guy Luke, really wanted a Hank Aaron card in the set, and it doesn't exist. So he's like, well, could I just pay you to make a painting? And I said, of course. And I'm very fortunate now with the platform that I have that I have a pretty long waiting list for commissioned works. And
wow, good for you.
Yeah, it's great. And so I try and slip those in as much as I can. And I told Luke that his painting would be done soon, so he's up. And then I have another one also for a collector, Jason Eggert, who I met through this set. huge Jackie Robinson fan and was interested in having another Jackie Robinson painting. So I'll kind of be bouncing back and forth between those tonight, I believe, on my stream. So yes, I do still work on other projects, and in this case, it's commissioned works, which is awesome. And then sometimes I don't worry about anything else, and I paint something just for me, and that's also fun too.
Now, did you? Because there is 20 artists, and I don't want to get the artists confused. Didn't you just have a card come out last week?
Yeah, my Mariano Rivera came out last Wednesday and did pretty well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. I said Mariano Rivera. I don't know why. That card was multiple cards ago. Ichiro just came out.
That's what I thought.
Thank you.
Like, okay. Yeah.
I just space cadetted. I don't know why.
I wanted to show the card. This is the card that came out last week.
Yep.
And I actually ordered this one through Topps, and so you got the original artwork.
That's right.
There you go. Now let me ask you, what is when they do the limited, and if people don't realize this, some of these cards now, when you first buy them from Topps, you're buying them for about $20, or the limited ones are like, what is it, $2.99?
Yeah, I think they're $2.99 now.
And they're going for, on the secondary market, $700-800 and being sold.
Yep.
And the gold cards are going for, on average, about $4,000.
Yep.
I mean, if you're blessed enough to get a gold card of one of these, it's like hitting the lotto. And some of these cards, they're only making $4,000 or $5,000 because you only got 48 hours to order it. And that's it. So again, that's what I like about this project, because you're not flooding the market, and I think that's what your thinking is about 2021. They don't want it to just become so gimmicky that people
like
that rarity of the cards.
Yep. Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's crazy because those gold ones that are the most sought after are just part of the print run. So if you buy a regular base card, if you buy it directly from Topps, you've got a shot at getting it. And I think that's why you see a lot of buyers buying a ton of base cards, hoping to get the 1-of-1 gold, and then offloading a lot of them on eBay or other secondary market platforms. And that keeps the secondary market cost lower than it probably would be without those type of people that might be buying 500 or 1,000 of a single card just to try and get that 1-of-1 gold. But can't knock it. I like to see high print runs. I get a royalty on every sale. It doesn't matter to me if it's being even if it's being purchased.
I didn't want to ask you that because sometimes.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, we get the artists. It's not huge, but the more sales we get, the more money we make, and it's good. It incentivizes all of us artists to promote the set and promote the project and push our own cards. And I think that's an important thing to be able to do as an artist and be comfortable with it, because I think that there's a lot of artists that are uncomfortable pushing and promoting their work. And I've never struggled with that because I have the background in marketing. I think I can probably toe that line and push harder than a lot of other artists might feel comfortable with. But I don't care, man. I'm doing what I love, and I get to continue doing it every day. And as long as I keep getting people excited about my art, then I'm able to keep doing those things,
I want to talk to you one day off camera about that. Basically how it works with using logos and stuff like that, because you've inspired me to get a little. I've always liked art. I think when you're creative, and this was actually a card. I basically want to do something with the home run. This was a card I designed.
Nice.
Called the Home Run Kings.
Okay.
And, I like. Basically, anybody who's in that home run club, that was 548. This was a combination of two pictures, and then I created and then did the but even the logo and all the layout and Photoshop so
awesome.
Yeah, so I want to actually again do something. I actually own that website, and I want to reach out to you one time. I'm hoping maybe one day to get the opportunity when you feel comfortable, is maybe you would allow people to come visit the studio, and I could actually see you if it's economical, that you getting involved with the special shows because you know people want to see you and come out and talk to you, have a picture taken with you. Actually, I'm looking for on eBay is your magazine. Your if people don't realize, your Mark McGwire was featured on a Beckett monthly magazine. I actually subscribe and I get the Vintage Collector magazine. So
you go grab one of those.
This is very passionate to me as far as cards. And when I was a kid, growing up, I didn't have much, and unfortunately, family priorities. But I worked in a restaurant, and the chef or the cook there, the head cook, he used to do card shows. And he used to send me up to the little convenience store to pick up cards for 50 cents. And we would sit there going through them. And I always thought it was amazing the people that could hit home runs. And that's where my love of cards started. Not sure. Philly Picker is a friend of mine, Joe. Not sure if this was that. I was late. Did Topps assign you the players? Did you get the pick? There's a question for you. Blake.
Great question. Great question. Didn't miss it. What's up, Philly Picker? Good to meet you. So when we got recruited for the project, it was kind of unclear. And then once the project launched, they not only gave us the players, but they gave us the very specific cards that they wanted to reproduce. So for example, this Mark McGwire card. And again, I don't know if you were here earlier, but so this was the base card they gave us. So this is the 87 rookie of Mark McGwire on the Oakland A's. So they give us this, but they also give us a lot of freedom and flexibility to play with this. As long as I'm kind of basing it on this, I can do a lot of different things. So I went in this direction, zoomed in on the picture a little bit, kept the wood border, changed the color of, the little name tag at the bottom. And that was partially inspired by kind of a mix of these two. I love both these cards growing up. And so I put the American flag in there to, give a little bit of a nod of the head to this card, but still keeping true to the original card that Topps gave us. And so Topps gave me literally 20 cards, including the artists of who they wanted me to paint and the exact, reference cards that we wanted to work off of. And and then this made the cover of
this is what I'm trying to.
Pretty rad.
And these are selling for like $35, $40 on eBay.
Wow.
Just the magazine.
That's awesome. I didn't know that, to be honest. I think that the secondary market is fascinating. I think I honestly don't really follow it. And that's intentional because I don't care. Sure, I would love if everything that I make triples in value and then continues to triple every day, whatever. That's great, because that will bring more people into my art. But if people are just getting into my art because they think that they're going to flip it for a quick buck, I want lifetime fans. Right. I'd rather build relationships with lifetime fans that are, putting it in their personal collection or, and not to have anything against flippers. If you have an opportunity, you buy one of my cards, you see an opportunity to make some money and you need that money, go get that money. No hard feelings there at all. But the reason that I don't follow the secondary market prices really at all is because I would hate to get to a point in my art career where I'm changing the art that I'm making for financial reasons of the secondary market. It is not what I think whether this Beckett was selling for $10, which is the retail price on eBay, or it was selling for $10,000, it doesn't change what I'm going to paint next. And it's not going to affect, what I'm going to create in my studio tonight. And so I want to keep it that way and not be, not get caught up in that. And, it's pretty busy running a business when Topps has a new card for me every 2 weeks and I got to promote it. And, now I have employees and we have both production and then shipping is a big thing. So, I'm dealing with all these, new challenges and learning opportunities. And so I'm focusing my efforts on those rather than keeping up with the secondary market, at least for now.
I like to see, are you doing any t-shirts or anything yet?
I haven't done t-shirts. These are like prototype hats we are pretty excited about. So this is like my autograph basically, which is also my logo. And so we're starting to branch out. We also did we did a limited edition fanny pack release actually.
Yeah, I've been seeing.
So I have one of this. Actually isn't the fanny pack that we sold. This is like my old one, but it's I've had this for a lot longer than the ones that I just made with the project. So this is just my OG fanny pack. But yeah, we did a fanny pack launch, and we made it like a grab bag. So I also do quite a bit of art where I'm splatter painting on existing baseball cards. We call that card art. And so we started making all these card art. At first, we were giving them away for free. Anybody that comes and watches my stream could fill out this form, and they get one free card. And then people started saying, "Oh, I really want, I want a Mike Trout one, or I want, the Bryce Harpers and the big guys." Yeah. So we started painting on those. And at first we're like, well, we could sell them, but we didn't have enough of any of those one players to maybe meet all, like, we don't have enough Mike Trouts for everyone to get a Mike Trout.
Right, exactly.
So we wanted to kind of make it like almost like ripping a pack. And so we made custom fanny packs, which was made printed with my art on it. And then inside we stuffed a handful of cards. And so it was a few of what we were calling super studs. So, the Mike Trouts and the Bryce Harpers. And then, and also we had like a lot of like Hall of Fame players. A lot of the Project 2020 guys were in that super stud category. So you get a couple of those, a stud, which is kind of the mid-tier guys. And then you get like 5 base cards. And then we also did random inserts. We put in 1 in every 20 fanny packs had a Mark McGwire card. 1 in every 20 fanny packs had a Jackie Robinson card. We put in tickets to the National to join like me and the team at the National, which I don't know is going to happen or not, but cool thing to have. I also signed the National tickets. So we made it like this grab bag type of pack, and they were we sold a lot more than I thought we would. So that's exciting. It's humbling and awesome, and I think that also with the timing of when those released, it was also like really this height of this rocket ship project that the secondary market prices have changed since then. I think that everyone was getting on that hype, and so I don't know, it was the perfect storm. So a lot of people got the fanny packs. But anyways, back to your question. Haven't done t-shirts yet, might in the future.
Yeah, well, when you do, let me know, because I love your artwork, and
I appreciate that.
I gotta ask you, what happened to the ball with the red autograph?
We sent it to someone.
Oh, you did? Because I remember when you were doing it, and they wanted it in ink pen.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we did 2 of them.
Oh, okay.
So at first, and that was for we'll do quite a bit of giveaways too on my live streams. Keeps it fun. It's a lot of the same people coming back and spending their evenings with me and the team, and it's really generous of them to give us their time and their attention over and over and over again. So I like to do giveaways, and I try not to do giveaways to like get more fans. I like to do giveaways to reward the fans that are already there because they want to be there.
Right.
And so so we did a giveaway. I signed a ball in red Sharpie. And then everyone, there's a slight delay, right? You and I are talking, the comments are coming in 10 seconds later, and everyone's like, "No, not Sharpie. It's gonna bleed." And I was like, okay, sorry.
I was watching that night. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, I'll do one. And they said, I asked them, I'm like, what pen do you guys want? They said blue ballpoint pen. I said, okay. Went and got a blue ballpoint pen, pulled out another ball, signed it, showed it to them. So we gave away 2 balls that night.
Now, let me ask you too, and we're getting down to about the last 7 or 8 minutes here.
Yep.
When you're doing a lot with the stencils and stuff like that, is it the same process as doing screen printing? The machine that makes these stencils?
Kind of, but I'm the machine. So I what I do is I print out full size, however big I want to paint the canvas. I print out a photograph that large, and then I go in and I take an X-Acto knife, and I'm cutting out everything by hand. And so typically I'll do 2 layers. I'll do a black layer and a white layer, and then those become my stencils. And then you'll see, like, if you look at my stencils, it has kind of this mesh screen on top of it. That's it's called fiber tape. It's like a construction material, construction mesh. I buy it at Home Depot. I've just found that I like it, helps my stencils kind kind of stay more rigid, and it keeps everything together, and it gives my paintings this kind of almost pixelated looking texture. And I think it's fun to like paint analog, but almost have like a little bit of an element where you're like, it kind of looks like pixels, which is something that's digital. So I just think that that's a really fun kind of combination to play with. But yeah, I mean, the stencils themselves are all made and cut by hand. And when you look at like most of the time, that process is already done offline. And then when I'm painting something, I'm like putting the stencil up, spray paint over it, pull it off, looks awesome. Like it seems like it's like a very fast process. The cutting of the stencils is the most time consuming process of them all. So tonight on my stream, I'm actually going to be bouncing back and forth. Like I said, I've got a couple stencils to cut. So I will be doing a little bit of X-Acto cutting. And it's like, people have said like, you know, I've done it only once before on the stream, but people are like, wow, that's like therapeutic to watch. It's crazy that like, I'll just sit there with hours cutting. And I'll usually listen to an audiobook and just kind of get in the zone. And I'll spend sometimes a couple hours on a layer, and sometimes I'm spending a couple full days on a single stencil layer. And then once I have the stencil, painting the painting is very fast, because that was kind of where I was creating, I guess, the portrait.
Yeah, people don't realize that process, and that's why I wanted to ask you about that. Now, I see when you're live a lot of times, is that your dad in the chat too?
My dad's in the chat almost every night.
Yeah, I see that.
My mom pops in, my sister comes in. It's pretty cool, man. It's a family affair, and it's so great. Like I said, you know, when I grew up, it was a very creative household, and I think that they're proud and happy to see me doing something that I love.
Now, I see today you're doing stuff even with bats and balls now too.
Yeah, we're playing around.
Yeah, I think like that. I've been up to Cooperstown and went to the Hall of Fame and actually connected with a bat company. Cool. And I actually plan on going in there. They've actually, when I was in the restaurant business, I had them create me a custom bat based on my logo and stuff like that. So awesome. Actually, once this pandemic's over, I'm supposed to be filming the process of them making bats, and I like to bring that to the audience and stuff. Why don't you tell the audience what you're doing? I know that you're doing some, I think, 2 special things, Friday or Saturday. Why don't you tell them what you're doing? And
Yeah, totally. So, all right. So a couple things. Live stream every night on YouTube, 10:23 p.m. It's I think it's a special thing, even though it happens all the time. This Thursday, day after tomorrow, I'm volunteering with Peter Stuyvesant Little League here in New York, and doing basically a kids summer camp, where these kids were really hoping for a Little League season. That's not happening because of everything that's going on, but they still wanted to organize some fun activities for the kids. And I am helping facilitate one of those fun activities, which will be painting card art. So I'll be taking a bunch of paint supplies. We're going out in the park. We're going to do this kind of socially distanced. We have tents to kind of shelter us from the sun or rain, I guess. And I'm going to paint with the kids, and it's going to be a blast. And then this weekend, I believe it starts on Friday, is Hobbypalooza. The website for that is thehobbypalooza.com. And it's pretty cool. It's a digital kind of like cyber conference to fill the void of something like the National, which originally was going to be happening around this time. And so I'm going to be a guest on that. My session is going to be on Sunday, at 2 p.m. on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern. And that will be streamed. So if you go to thehobbypalooza.com, you can get information on that and see all these other. I mean, it's a star-studded cast. I'm honored to be a part of it. I think it's going to be just a blast. And so for that, I'll be doing part Q&A and probably parts kind of a studio maybe tour and like a painting demo. So I'll kind of give them a little give you guys a behind-the-scenes look at my process, my space, where I work and how I work, and it's going to be awesome. So those are the 2 things I'm looking forward to the most right now.
All right. Yep. All right, guys, I want to thank everyone that's come out. Blake, I want to thank you for giving up an hour of your time and being I'm hoping, to be honest, maybe I can reach out to some other Topps Project 2020 artists, and they'll watch this interview and just want to come out and share their story with my subscribers. And I've seen you do a couple, I think, with a couple artists too, actually. And it'd be cool one day if you guys can all get together and kind of at a finale at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, it's awesome. And I think that I don't even know if it's a finale, man. I think it'd be intermission. I think
right.
I have a lot of friends with the artist that's going to last a long time, and it might be the end of this project, but I think those friendships aren't going away. Just like even the people here in the chat on my YouTube streams. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for everyone for joining us. You guys get a chance, go check out Blake's channel again down below, and you guys can hit the thumbs up and go over there at 10 o'clock and check out his channel and show him some love. And thanks for everyone for coming. And I'll see you again. Have a good night.